So she passed, and I always say that she's part of the reason I started hitting seven figures, because the month after she passed, I made over $100,000 in revenue.
In one
So,
month. Wow.
mhm.
Hi, I'm Adrian M. White, and with over a decade of entrepreneurship experience and launching 4 successful businesses, I know what it takes to grow your business online and live a more purpose-filled life doing the work that you most enjoy. Branding Convert is your go-to resource for branding, marketing, and entrepreneurship advice for service-based business owners looking to scale their business to 6 figures a year. This is the Branding Convert with Adrian M. White podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Branding Convert with Adrian M. White podcast. I am so excited today. We have another entrepreneur spotlight with Shakia, CEO of KG Beauty Bar. Shakia is a hairstylist that specializes in natural hair and extensions, and she has been doing hair since elementary school. She also sells her own hair growth serum that brought in over $1 million in the pandemic in 2020. So I'm so excited. I'm going to bring her to the stage. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing great.
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
You're so welcome. I'm glad that I got to be a part of this. I'm really excited.
Yes. So me and Shakia went to Hampton University together. HIU stand up,
Yes,
right?
best HBCU ever.
Yes, the best HU and the best HBCU
Yes.
for sure. And we both were in the business. We were in like a program where we could get our Master's of Business Administration in 5 years. But when we got out of it, I think both of us really were, had really entrepreneurial mindsets. And we both have been using our degrees to work for ourselves. So I want to share, obviously her story. So that's why she's here today. And let's kick this off. So let's get started. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the beauty and hair care industry.
Okay, so I have loved hair since I was a little girl. My mom did not know how to do hair. She couldn't brush hair. It was really bad. So because of that, I taught myself how to braid when I was 8 years old.
Wow.
I'm not sure if you remember the My Size Barbies, but I taught myself how to braid with my My Size Barbie. I practiced on her until I figured it out, and then I started braiding me and my sister's hair. And from there, as I got older, I started doing people's hair in the neighborhood. I started, braiding my neighbor's hair, braiding my friend's hair. So by the time I got to high school, I realized that, I really love hair. This is what I want to do. I went to hair school while I was in high school. Most of the programs in Virginia, and I'm sure they're in other states as well, they offer VOTEC programs where you can go to school, get your license, and finish while you're in high school, and you can go for free. So I always tell people, look into those programs, because it's always good to get a trade while you're in school. And I mean, why not for free? So that's what I did. And then, of course, I came to HU, and I thought I wanted to do corporate for a little bit. I thought I wanted to take that side because I was introduced to it at HU. And then I quickly realized that that was not for me. So I got
Mhm.
back into the beauty industry, which has always been my first love, and which is why I'm still here today.
Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when you got back into the beauty industry, what did that look like? Or you just started doing hair again, or you went in the shop, or what?
No, actually, what happened was I'm a little crazy. So after I finished school at Hampton, I just randomly moved to Florida. I
Wow.
I looked up a city in Florida, in Tampa. I had been looking at a law school because I at the time wanted to go law school.
Mhm.
So I looked at this law school in Tampa, Florida, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna move to Florida. Never been to Florida. Didn't know anything about Florida. I moved to Tampa. And I at that time I used to always do my own hair. So I used to go to work. I ended up getting a job at a call center, and I used to go to work every day with a new hairstyle like every week. So my coworkers kept like, "Who does your hair?" And I'm like, "Me." Nobody believed me, but eventually when our cook was like, "Well, can you come do my hair?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it went
What
from
type of styles were you doing?
I was doing weaves. So I was doing sew-ins, I was doing ponytails. So I was going to work every week with a new hairstyle. And back then I didn't have money like that. So I was buying like cheap hair from the hair store, but I made it look good. You would never know
Yeah.
that it was cheap. So I kept switching the styles. It was sometimes it would be a sew-in with hair out or sew-in without hair out or a ponytail. I was doing braided ponytails. So I was doing different styles. I eventually started doing a lot of my coworkers' hair at my job. And that's honestly what made me get back into hair. I remember I colored one of my clients' hair one of my coworkers' hair when I was down there. She wanted, I think, red and black. So I did like a two-tone color on her.
Mhm.
And I remember so many people stopping her asking, like, who did your hair? And at the time I was okay. I wasn't like great. I wasn't like super good, but I was okay.
Uh-huh.
So when I got back, I ended up leaving Florida. I stayed down there for I think 9 months. When I got back to Virginia, because I realized that it was just Florida, it was, one of those spur of the moments. I just want to go. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it, but I also had a young child. When it came time for me to get, like a job in my field, I was a little nervous about having strangers keep my son. I didn't have any family. I didn't have any friends. So I just decided to come back home. And when I
Mhm.
came back home, I never told anybody I was back home. A lot of people still thought I was in Florida. I never said anything. I just moved back home. And when I moved back home, I just started doing hair out the house. So I started advertising on Craigslist. And that's how I started getting clients. Eventually, I went into a salon. When I first went into the salon, it was like a hood salon. It was very ghetto,
Oh,
but
no. Okay.
it
What was going on in there?
it was just, you got the bruh man in the back with the CDs. You got somebody selling T-shirts. You got all the hood dudes coming in there getting their hair braided. You might see somebody about to fight. It just
Oh,
was it
Lord.
was it was so much going on. I was like, okay, yeah, this isn't the environment for me. And I knew where I wanted to take my business. So I ended up leaving. I was like, I can't grow here. This is not the environment. And because of that environment, I knew I could only attract certain clients. So I was like, you know what? I gotta go. I ended up leaving and going back home to do hair. And then the salon owner that I ended up working for ended up reaching out to me on Craigslist because at the time I was still advertising on Craigslist. So she saw my post on Craigslist and reached out to me, saying that she was hiring for booth runners. And when I saw the location, I'm like, that's a good location. The salon looks nice and clean. It's
Mhm.
a better environment. I'll be able to do what I really want to do with my business. And I ended up working with her. And that's pretty much where I stayed up until now. I worked with her up until I took over her salon. And then I had my salon. And I just closed my salon down actually 2 months ago
Oh,
because I'm working
wow.
on something new. I don't want to talk about it now because it's going to be a surprise. I'll tell you later. But
Okay.
I'm working on something next year.
Okay. Awesome. That's really cool. So, I remember when you announced that you were like opening your own salon. What was kind of the process you took to get to be able to do that? And then what was that like having your own salon for the first time?
Honestly, I wasn't prepared for it. I'm not going to lie. When I was told that I was going to be taking over the salon, I wasn't ready. The old owner just, she told me that her lease was ending. And I basically had like a month and a half to decide if I want to take over the salon or go work in someone else's salon.
Mhm.
So I was just like, do I want to go work in someone else's salon? I really wasn't feeling that because I just was like, as working in that industry, you work with different people. You kind of know, like, it's not always the best environment. Sometimes salons can be really messy. And I was just like, I really don't feel like going to another salon, trying to figure out if I like these people or if I want to work with them or if the environment is what. So I just
Mhm.
decided to take over. And honestly, it was a struggle. I had to invest. I think I invested about 20,000 of my own money.
Mhm.
And at the time I didn't have money saved for that. So I just used, my personal savings, which is something I kind of regret now because,
Why do you
now that
regret
I
it?
understand, I wish I would have used OPM.
What's
I gave
OPM?
other people's money.
Oh. Okay.
When we get older, they talk about that a lot, building business credit and using business credit as opposed to using your own money. Cause I definitely use my own personal savings. And that's something that I'm like, I'm a little bit older now and I understand business a little bit more now.
Mhm.
I'll never do that again. Yeah, that was a struggle, but it was definitely a learning process because I did a lot of everything in my salon when I got it. I did the floors myself. I painted.
Mhm.
I actually made my stations. I bought unfinished cabinets and I bought tile, like kitchen tile, white, ugly kitchen tile, and I painted it. So I ended up finding like a granite paint kit on Amazon and I ordered that. We cut the tile and fitted it to fit each station, each cabinet, unfinished cabinet, and then we painted it. We had to. It was a process because you had to let it cure and all of that. So we did that. That took about 3 days, I think. And then
Mhm.
once that finished and it was cured completely, we sealed it to the top of the unfinished cabinet, and then I painted the cabinets. I found like a black matte paint that I could use, and I painted the cabinets. So I made my stations like that.
Nice.
So
So you're, like, very DIY
yes,
type of
yes.
person.
I'm not now, but now I'll take the easier route. But during that time, yes, I did a lot of DIY just
Okay.
because, once I started looking up things for the salon, I didn't realize how expensive it was. I was just like, oh my gosh, this stuff is expensive. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I did a lot of DIY. This time around, it's not going to be so much DIY. Gonna just order stuff.
Mhm. Well, now you have more resources to
Yes,
to
yes.
use. Awesome. So, okay, so when you were in your own salon, had you gotten to 6 figures yet? Or, when you were just doing, like, one-on-one services, basically, had you grown your business to 6 figures yet, or did it take
Mhm. I
introducing a
hit
product?
6 figures. So, I graduated 2010. I moved to Florida the following year because I got my degree in December. So, I moved to Florida 2011. I moved to Florida at the beginning of 2011. I came back at the end of 2011. And 2012 was when I went into the salon that I ended up working for, taking over. 2015 was the first year that I hit 6 figures. I didn't even know I hit 6 figures until I actually did my numbers
Mhm.
because for the first 3 years that I worked at that salon, I didn't have a car. I used to catch the bus and walk.
Wow, okay.
And yeah, it was a struggle because I was pregnant with my youngest, and my oldest used to go to the school down the street from the salon. I used to catch the bus every single day with him, drop him off at school, go to work, pick him up from school, catch the bus home, and that was our routine. Eventually, when I started realizing I was making enough money to get a rental car, well, I started catching cabs first. I started getting cabs because I was like, all right, I'm tired of the bus because the bus was taking too long, and the route that went past my house only came every hour. So it was like if
Mhm.
I missed the bus, I had to wait another hour. So eventually I went from that to getting rental cars. When 2015 hit and I had got a rental car, they ended up messing up my rental car rate and somehow charged me like $900 for 1 week. And I remember calling like fussing like, okay, why is this $900? I rented it for the weekend and then I switched to a week. It should have been a weekly rate. It should have switched over to the weekly rate. They ended up refunding me, I think like 500, but they still charged me like, and I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna pay 400 some dollars a week for a rental car, I can afford a car payment. Like,
Yeah. So, originally, you didn't have a car because you felt as though you could not afford to have
yeah, because I went to a dealership and I remember getting approved, and I told myself I was like, I can't afford this right now, and I don't want to put myself in that type of financial position. And I can't afford it. I'm okay. Manage this time. I'll be all right. So I kept waiting. I'm like, nope. I want to buy the car, and then I didn't want to just get a car just because at the time they approved me for something that I really didn't want. And I'm like, no, I want to be able to get the car that I actually want.
Oh, okay.
So, and I wanted to make sure I was comfortable with making the payments without feeling like stress. So, yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty much how that went. And that's how I realized in 2015 that I was making 6 figures because after that whole rental car situation, I called the bank immediately and applied for a car loan and got approved. And so when, they asked about my income and I started checking my account because I hadn't been paying attention to it, I
Mhm.
was making about $5,000 or $6,000 a month at that time. I'm like, when did I start making it? And I
Yeah, I was
didn't
gonna ask you, like, what contributed to you getting to your 6 figures for the first time, do you think?
I think honestly, I was going really hard with my promo on social media. And so I constantly built my clientele. And when I started out, I was doing Craigslist. Once Craigslist, I kind of mastered like their algorithm. So for the people that remember Craigslist, Craigslist had like a list. And when you would go on Craigslist, posts would show based on the time that they were posted. So what I used to do was I figured out that you couldn't repost the same thing on Craigslist because Craigslist would block you.
Mhm.
So I had 6 different posts that I had saved that I would just repost at different times of the day. And I would go in every so that way my post would push back up to the top. So a lot of my long-term clients that still come to me now came from Craigslist.
Wow, that's
Yes.
crazy. Yeah, because I mean, I actually still use Craigslist. I think it's a great way to they're free board
Yeah.
with, like, free furniture and stuff. Like, if
Mhm.
I wanna get rid of something in my place really quickly, I put it on there and, like, I'll get messages within minutes of
Yeah.
posting, and someone will show up, like, within the hour and, like, take it. I'm like, "This is great. I got rid of
Right,
this really
yeah.
quickly."
See, I
Um
haven't used it in years because it started getting really spammy. So when
Mhm,
it started getting spammy, I kinda was like, "Alright, I'm over Craigslist." And I kinda and that's when Facebook started getting popular and Instagram came out. So once Facebook and Instagram came out, I started posting my pictures all the time on those. So I was getting clients from both of those platforms. And that's how I grew it. I was kind of like I used to post, I used to have a method. I posted every day, at least twice a day. I would post, make sure I post one time in the morning, one time at night, and I would do it on both Facebook and Instagram. And I
mhm.
would do details. So I got a lot of clients from social media. So
What type
part of
of posts were they? And were you using hashtags or anything?
no, I wasn't. I had to think about it. Back then, I thought hashtags were annoying. I didn't think hashtags worked until I started using them. I'm like, why do people use all these hashtags? I did not understand the hashtag thing. It wasn't something that I really liked. I honestly just was from posting pictures and people would search hair and they would find my page because my name on Instagram is Hair by Kia G.
Mhm.
So people would find my page from that. Then I actually did start using hashtags and I noticed that I was getting a lot of customers. One of the hashtags that a lot of my clients said they found me on is 757 hair. So
It's a
that
good
was
one.
a
So
really
location
yep,
specific one.
location specific. So that was a big one, especially because a lot of my clients are military. So, when they come in the area, the first thing they do is they try to look for a good hairstylist in this area. So
Mhm.
a lot of it, and then I've always been into videos. So even before social media became like a video thing, I've always recorded videos. So I think that was another big thing that a lot of people like. 'Cause they like, you always have these cute videos where your clients are laughing or joking and dancing and smiling and they just look so happy. And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing that since I started. I just always like videos. So that was
Mhm.
another big thing. And then of course, the pictures were always good because I probably I want to say I've had pictures go viral before viral was a thing. I remember I had a picture go viral and it got really good comments and then it also got really bad comments. I had a lot of people,
Mhm.
saying I was lying about my client's hair, saying she had weave, saying, she had a relaxer. It was just, how that
Mhm.
goes with viral stuff. So,
So,
and
why do you think that particular picture went viral?
because it was a picture of my client and her daughter. And my client naturally has long hair. Her hair is almost waist length. So in the picture, her daughter was like laying on her with her head lean like this, and she's kind of holding her. And I did both of their hair, so both of their hair was straightened. And
Mhm.
people all it's just assumed that it was weave and it wasn't her hair, and it just ended up going viral. So people started sharing it. And once a few people started sharing it, it just got a million shares, and then it just kind of blew up from there.
Okay. You hit your 6 figures or you realized you hit your 6 figures 2015, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, let's fast forward to 2019, 2020. So, you're doing your thing. What's going on in your life and in your business between 2015 all the way up until hitting the pandemic?
So 2015 all the way up into the pandemic. Okay, let me see. So 2015, I just, I used social media to keep promoting my business. As Instagram and Facebook grew, so did my following on social media grow and my client base because it got to a point where I was turning people down because I couldn't take them because I had too many clients.
Mhm.
So 2018 was when I took over the salon. That's when I went ahead and got the salon in my name and switched it over to my business. So I took over in 2018 and then 2019 I started selling, actually that's what it was. 2015 is when I started selling the hair growth serum. I remember making my first and I had been talking about it honestly for a year before I started selling it. And I
Mhm.
remember, people like, when are you going to finally release? And I kept, pushing it off. And I finally like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down and figure out this recipe and I'm gonna make it. So that's what I did. I sat down, figured out the recipe and made it. So
Was
once I
there a
did
lot of trial and error?
to get
Yes, it
it to where you
was.
want?
It
Okay.
was.
Because how did you know that it would work, like, with the ingredients
Well,
and stuff like that?
I had been doing research on different oils that help with hair growth, and then I use myself and my clients as test dummies. They,
Okay.
I just like, can y'all try this? Let me know what you think. Let me know. So, and that's kind of how I did it. So once I started doing that, and it, they realized it worked, and then it just took a lot of like just testing different ratios to make sure you had the right ratio, make sure I had enough carrier oils, because that's a big, thing with essential oils. You have to have the carrier oils. So it
Mhm.
was really just me just testing out, trying to figure out what works. And eventually, once I came up with the recipe and I, tried it, once people started saying, okay, we like this, I stuck with that recipe. So a lot of people have asked me over the years, have I changed? And I'm like, no, it's still the same recipe. The only difference is I started ordering bulk versus, because I used to hand pour it. So I used to make the bottles, they're 2 ounce bottle, and I used to literally take each oil and do this. I have
Mhm.
machines now that do that because it would take forever to make it like that now. But I wasn't selling as many then, so it was easy to do.
Right, the demand was much lower at that
Yeah.
point. Okay.
So yep. So that by 2018 it had really blew up because I had my website on big, is it big commerce? No, it's
Big Cartel?
there you go. Thank you. It was on Big Cartel. So by then, once I put it on Big Cartel and people that weren't in Virginia could order it, that's when it
Mhm.
started blowing up. I think I put it on Big Cartel 2018. I think is when I went ahead and put it up there because people kept asking, and because they weren't in Virginia, I'm like, you know what, let
Mhm.
me just go ahead and make a website. So I made a Big Cartel website, and I made the whole website myself, and I put it up there, and then I just started getting customers from all over ordering because my customers here were telling people about it other places.
Mhm.
So that's how it started kind of expanding outside of Virginia.
Mhm.
And then I switched over once I kind of outgrew Big Cartel and I realized I couldn't do but so much with the website. I switched over to Wix.
Okay.
So I switched over to Wix, and I believe I switched over to Wix in 2019.
Okay, and what
So
was your experience with Wix versus Big Cartel like?
Wix was a lot better because I was able to like price shipping a little different because I know with Big Cartel I could only put like one shipping price. I could only, it was a lot of things that I couldn't edit or change up there. I was able to kind of edit and make it look a little more professional on Wix. The only thing
Mhm.
with Wix was it was limited in what I could do with marketing. I realized like when I started trying to add it to different platforms, like Pinterest was one of them because I had grew a following on Pinterest. I tried to add my Wix website to Pinterest. Pinterest does not work with Wix when it comes to adding your store. So like if you go to my Pinterest page, you can click on my website and go directly to my website. I couldn't do that with Wix. For some reason they're not compatible with Pinterest, and that's what made me realize, okay, Pinterest is a little I mean, not Pinterest. Wix is a little limited. So let me see, and people have been talking about Shopify for a
Mhm.
while. So I'm like, all right, let me look into Shopify. And then I did my research on Shopify, and I'm like, Shopify has way more features.
Right.
Shopify definitely has more, like they help you, they give a lot of advice. Wix didn't do that. So I remember when I left, this was 2020, I had generated so much revenue on Wix. One of the marketing executives reached out to me about why I left. They wanted
Mhm.
to know why because I had generated a lot of revenue
Yeah,
up
because 'cause
there.
they're not getting their cut no more.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not meeting my needs. I can't,
Right.
and I feel like I'm gonna get at a standstill with Wix because there were certain things that I couldn't do with Wix. So I knew that I needed to switch platforms. So
Okay.
this was 2019, 2020. I switched to Shopify. I think it was
Before
mid
the pandemic or during the pandemic
during
did
the
you switch?
pandemic. Yep, I switched during the pandemic. I want to say it might have been like May or June of 2020 is when I switched to Shopify.
Okay, and did
So
you have a better experience once you were in
yes,
Shopify?
yes, a way better experience. It was so much better. It was just Wix just had a lot of issues too that I felt like I remember one time my store got shut down on Wix, and Wix doesn't have phone support. So I'm like,
Mhm.
how are y'all a company that runs, multiple $1 million businesses and y'all don't have phone support? Nobody
Right.
could tell me. And they basically tried to say that I filed a fraud. And I'm like, I've never done that. Like, why would I do that? And I use this website constantly. all of my orders are coming through that. Well, what happened was they made a mistake.
I'm sure you're enjoying this episode, but I wanted to quickly pop in to let you know about how you can grow your service based business to 6 figures a year today by learning how to better market it online. Join my exclusive membership community, Marketing Maintenance, for as little as $49 a month and learn how to develop and implement effective online marketing strategies that bring in more leads while also keeping your WordPress website protected and up to date. This program includes website updates, site maintenance, monthly marketing trainings, one-on-one marketing strategy meetings, and marketing deliverable creation. Join today at marketingandmaintenance.com.
Well, what happened was they made a mistake. They shut my website down because they said that it was my monthly, you know how you pay the monthly fee. They tried to say
Mhm.
that I did a chargeback, and I'm like, no, I didn't. I would never do that.
Like, do you see how much money is coming in? Why would
Right.
I need to do a chargeback?
Right, and
Like
that's how I'm like, why would I do a chargeback? Like, come on now, I'm not doing a
Right.
chargeback. So after going back and forth with them for a week,
Mm,
my website was down for a week. I was so upset because I'm like, do
yeah,
y'all know how much money I'm losing because my website is down for a week?
right.
And they finally like, oh, we're sorry, Wolf. And I'm like, that really kind of made me like, you know what? Nope, it's time for me to go. Because I feel like if it was an issue, y'all could have sent an email or something first to rectify the issue
Yeah.
instead
Yeah,
of just
that's
completely shutting my website down.
as a business owner, and especially, like, as you are a 6 or 7-figure business owner, like, your website being down for a week, it's a problem. Like, it
It's a
is a
problem.
problem. There's a lot of
Yeah.
businesses that are online only. So if their
Yeah.
website is down, that means that their business is literally, like, not getting any sales for that week,
Mhm.
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it was super frustrating because it literally, and the crazy part is this is how bad they are with communication. So I was okay with the email, but I'm gonna need for somebody to respond to my emails. It's sending an email and it was taking them like 2.5 days to respond. And then I would
Mm,
respond immediately and then no response. So
mm,
what I ended up doing to get a response out of them, I had to go on all their social media pages. I said, you know what? I am not that person. I don't want to be that person, but I need somebody to look into this. So I ended up
mm.
messaging them. I went on everything. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and they
I
finally
know a
like
lot of people go to Twitter for, like, the
yeah,
customer
because
service.
they responded on not shop. I keep saying Shopify. They responded on Instagram, and
Okay,
then they didn't respond. So then when I went to Twitter and I said something, they responded immediately, and then of course I got an email immediately. Everything was rectified, and I'm like,
yeah,
but I shouldn't have had to do this.
right,
Why did I have to do this? Why is it taking y'all so long to respond? And I don't know what's going because at that point I still didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why my website was down. And
right.
if it wasn't for like a client reaching out to me about my website being down, I would have known. I'm just, I wake up like, oh, let me go check the website, not knowing it's down.
Mm, and they didn't send any notification that it was going down either?
Nope. They didn't send one email, nothing. I got no message. That's what I said. I didn't even know, like reaching out to them. I was like, what's going on? I don't know. So when they finally told me what happened, I'm like, I did not do that. Where,
Yeah,
what are you talking about? And they like, well, you have to pay a fee to get your website back up. That's fine. I don't care. At this point, just put my website back up. It's
right,
like, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense that I have to pay a fee for something I didn't do, but I'll pay the fee if that means y'all gonna put my website back up.
right. Yeah, that's really something. It really
Yeah.
shows the importance of having a good website host is for
Yeah.
running your business. Like, a lot
Mhm.
of people will just they'll be like, "Oh, I just need something up." And even if you
Yeah.
have something up that's looking good, if it's not
Mhm.
hosted on the right platform, it's a problem when you're really
Yeah.
running a established business.
Yeah. And that was a big issue because it's hard with them too with shipping. I had to like price shipping like a set price. I wasn't able to do shipping based on the location. Wix doesn't
It's
allow
on
you to. Yeah, they don't let so like Shopify, you can do shipping based on the location. So it does the set price based on, where you live. Wix doesn't
Mhm.
allow you to do that. So, some people would get mad because I would price it at, I think my shipping at the time was like $10 because I'm like, I have to make sure I cover, the people that, there's going to be some people that's going to be lower, some people that's going to be a little bit higher, but I can't lose money in the process by trying to price it at one lower price. And then you got some people that order in California and they shipping is $14.
Right.
So that was a big complaint. A lot of people like, why shipping $10? I gotta, this is the price that it set at. And I had to kind
Yeah.
of explain that to people. So that was a big thing too that I didn't like with Wix. So I just kept saying I need to get off of Wix. I'm gonna do better. I can make more money with Shopify. And I eventually switched over and got to Shopify. And that's when I between Wix and Shopify was when I hit seven figures. And that was
Mhm.
2020.
Yeah,
So
so tell us about 2020. So you're entering 2020, business as usual, right?
yes.
And then
So
the
business,
pandemic hits.
yep. So 2020, the beginning of so 29, the end of 2019, I ended up taking a course on Facebook ads. I took it, but I didn't really use it. I just kind of was like, all right, I learned it. I'm gonna work on it later. And I didn't really focus on it.
And this is the L'Oreal Lane one?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just bought her. Well, after you told me that that you worked
Yes.
with her, I was like, I need some knowledge from her about
Yes,
these
yes.
ads.
So
So I
she's
bought it.
amazing. So I took her course, and the beginning of 2020, I started running like little ads. Without the ads, I think I generated for the whole year about 20K. Yeah, it was about 20K.
From the
Um,
serum.
from the serum. That first month, because I had started doing a lot of promo with my business, I was doing more promo, more posting, and more just like interacting with everybody on social media. I think I ended up making like $30,000 February, and I made that for the month. So, when I made that, I'm like, oh my gosh.
And that was with no ads?
That was with no ads. I think I had maybe one or two small ads. It wasn't anything that was supposed to generate like any. It just was something that kind of, my business kind of showing on people's pages. So it's just like small traffic ads. That was it. February, I think I made like 40,000. And then March, when the pandemic hit, I made $50,000 that month. And I remember like, oh my God. I have never made this much money in a month ever.
Mhm.
And it also was a stressful month for me because I also lost my mom that same month. She had been
Sorry
battling
to
cancer. Thank you. She had been battling cancer for 5 or 6 years, and her health just, kept declining. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to cry.
Mhm. No, take the time you need, but yeah, I noticed like in the pandemic, people whose health was compromised already, we
Mhm.
lost a lot of I personally lost multiple loved ones. And they were people that their health was already like a bit compromised.
Yeah,
Um,
my mom, she had been battling it. She had breast cancer and she beat it. She went into remission, but then her cancer came back as brain, liver, and lung cancer.
mm,
So,
mm,
once that came back, we knew that, eventually she was gonna, we just didn't know when. So she passed, and I always say that she's part of the reason I started hitting seven figures because the month after she passed, I made over $100,000 in revenue.
in one
So,
month. Wow.
mhm.
Wow.
So
And is this still with no ads when you
no,
at
at
that
this
time?
point I had ads. So this
And
point I was
you had
running
created
some
them
ads.
from
Mhm.
the program that you okay.
Yep. Yep. So I was running some ads. So that was a lot of it was the ads. And I will say my hair videos from the salon were going viral. Like all of them were going viral.
Mm,
So they actually helped my ads because people would say, I've seen your videos everywhere because they were going viral on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest.
wow.
So as they were going viral with my ads up, it was like people were seeing my stuff everywhere. So that's why I just, I started, and it pretty much increased from there. I went from, I think April, I made 100. The highest I hit one month was like 150. And I want to say I hit that in June. So, and it consistently for the rest of the year, I made over six figures a month.
Wow.
So
Incredible.
thank
What was
you.
it? I know you were dealing with a lot during that time, but what did it feel like, bringing in that much money at one time for you?
It was scary, honestly, because, to go from making, six figures in a year to six figures in a month, I honestly wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't mentally prepared for it. It was like, okay, I'm doing good, but I'm nervous. And honestly, because of such a big influx, I wasn't prepared to handle all of that. So that was another thing that I had a lot of people mad at me because, orders were taking really long to ship because I was making them by hand. And at that time I was still hand pouring bottles.
Yeah, but a couple
So
drops.
yeah. And that's when I was like, you know what? I gotta find something to help with, because I'm like, I can't do it. It's too many orders. I'm getting like, a couple hundred orders a day. I can't keep up with this doing it, because I had friends coming over. I had everybody coming over my house to help me. So
Mhm.
I'm just like, yeah, even with all these people, it's still not enough. And I had to deal with an influx of rude customers because of that. So that was also a growing challenge, because I think at one point I got extremely, because I didn't have time to grieve my mom because everything happened so fast. I
Mhm.
got people that like send out an email blast like, she lost her mother, and people was rude. Like, one girl ended up coming back and apologizing because she just like, that has nothing to do with me. Yes, it doesn't. But there's also a way that you word things when and as a business owner,
Yeah,
I'm going to be professional, but I also don't have to take certain things from certain people. So
right,
I
and there's
got,
human on the other end. Sometimes customers don't realize that, especially in
yeah,
the online world, that there's a human dealing with human issues.
right. Yeah, and I kind of got to the point where I started like just refunding people. I'm like, just here. I don't, it's okay. Like, I'm not,
Mhm.
I'd rather you take your money back than deal with you being nasty to me. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to like hire people and, hire somebody to be an assistant to help. And the assistant at the time was one of my clients. But then I had to kind of reel her back in because, she was like really passionate about helping me, but sometimes her passion came off as very rude. So I was a
Mhm.
few times where I had to kind of check her, like, you can't talk to people like that. I know they nasty, I know, but you can't respond like that. At the end of the day, I'm
Yeah.
still a business.
Right.
I said there's a respectful way that you can say something to somebody without being, because then it's like they don't know that it's, her responding. They think it's me. So then they're like, oh, she's nasty or she's, this and that. And I'm just like, no, so it was a few times where I had to go back behind her and apologize and say, I do apologize. That was my assistant, she was a little confused or, whatever, just to kind of, and that honestly, that helped me bring a lot of customers back in that kind of was like, I don't want to support your business anymore. But,
Mhm.
and I had to explain to people. So I used to go live a lot, which was part of what helped my business too. I used to explain to people like, for the people that know me, I'm like, I'm a really sweet person. I'm not nasty. I'm not gonna cuss
Mhm.
nobody out. That's just not my personality. So, if there's ever an issue, please reach out to me and let me know. And I'll rectify it.
Right.
So yeah, it was really crazy. So, and it kind of moved fast because I think May to June, I ended up getting my warehouse, and I ended up ordering all this equipment for the warehouse and setting up everything. So it made the process a lot faster and easier. But it was just
Mhm.
a lot because I had never been in the hiring space. So
Mhm.
I learned a lot about that and what
Yeah.
not to do the next time around. Because I definitely hired some people, and family included,
Mhm.
that I'll never do again. um and I think because I'm super laid back, I was a little too laid back,
Mhm.
and people definitely were getting over. So it became an issue because I was, not only did that help my serum business grow, it helped my clientele grow even more, to the point where when I would release my schedule every month, I will book in less than 2 minutes, completely booked in
Wow.
less than 2 minutes.
Mhm.
So it was just like, okay, I'm at the shop all day, and I'm still trying to run this business on the other side of the city because my warehouse was in Suffolk and I worked in Hampton. So it was just
Mhm.
like, all right, it's a lot going on. And it was hard to kind of try to watch, like, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing over there, because I had to show them how to make the serum, to
Right.
make sure it was made correctly, and make sure they're actually working. So then I started having to like pop up at the warehouse, like, because I knew like I would drop off orders because I was still printing shipping labels from home. So what I would do was, I would get up, print however many orders I planned on shipping that day, print them out, bring them to the warehouse, and then I would come by the warehouse after I leave the salon, and I'm like, what did y'all do today?
They weren't
How's
working? No, no.
everything was still, so I'm like, ain't nothing been moved. I know exactly how everything looked when I came over here yesterday. Y'all ain't touched nothing. What did y'all do?
Mm-mm.
So it was just a big learning curve. I will say that, making that kind of money without having somebody to guide you to kind of understand what to do, it's
Mhm.
hard because I feel like I wasted a lot of money on stuff that I could have, I could have used for other things to help with my business
Mhm.
because I
If
was trying.
you
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, if you could go back in time and kind of redo that situation so you still had all those orders coming in, you knew you needed a warehouse, what would you have done differently?
I honestly wouldn't have got the warehouse. I would have probably gotten like a storefront that was a lot smaller and a lot cheaper because my warehouse was $7,000 a month, which was fine when I was making six figures. But then when I, got sick and I started making less, it was just like, okay, I can't keep up with this. It's too much. I probably would have waited to get a warehouse until I'm, consistently making that kind of money. Because I got the warehouse and then I hired too fast and I hired too many. But I let people talk me into hiring them. I'll never
Mm,
do that again. Like, oh, I need a job. I need a job. Bugging me to death, bugging me, bugging me,
mhm.
bugging me. And then, the ones that bug you to death is the ones that don't want to do no work once they start working.
Yeah.
So
Were you checking references or anything when you were
I
hiring
didn't.
them?
No,
Okay.
I didn't. And that's what I said. I'm definitely gonna have a hiring process next time because I do want to
Mhm.
get a warehouse eventually again because I actually closed my warehouse because I
Mm,
just once I got sick with my pregnancy, I couldn't keep up with it. It was too much. My pregnancy honestly took me completely down to the point where I just, I disappeared from social media. I
mhm.
because I was constantly either back and forth in the hospital, back and forth at the doctor. I had migraines my entire pregnancy. I was really sick. I had to go to my regular doctor and a high risk doctor. It was just a lot.
Mhm.
So my pregnancy kind of made me just like I didn't have the energy or the strength or the motivation to do anything because I was in pain constantly. I ended up
S
closing the warehouse and the owners actually they didn't want me to close because I had been such a great tenant. They're like, we love you, we'll work with you. When do you think? And at first I contemplated staying and I'm like, no, that's not the right decision. I'm not, I don't want to keep it just to say I got a warehouse.
Yeah.
I'd rather
Yeah.
kind of step back, figure it out, and then, try to do this again when things are a little bit better.
Yeah. So where is your serum being produced now?
Back home, I'm back at home now.
But you
So,
have, like, the equipment and stuff
yeah, I
from the
have the
warehouse?
equipment. Yep. Yes, I still have all my equipment. I'm just back in the house now.
Well, that was I know you had a lot of learning lessons with that. That's like you could probably mentor others on
Yes, it was
scaling your
so many
business.
learning lessons.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, we're kinda coming to the home stretch of this
Okay.
spotlight, but tell us, what are you up to now with your business?
So right now I am working on revamping and relaunching. So I have some new products that I'm coming out with for Black Friday. I've been working on these quietly for a while. So I'm really excited because it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I just honestly, dealing with postpartum and sickness and all of that and just a lot of family loss. I just took a step back from everything just to kind of mentally get myself together. So now I'm ready to kind of get back in there and start promoting on social media again and start promoting my business. So I have some things and I'm actually since I closed my salon, I'm going back into a suite only because my daughter is still small. She'll be 8 months on the first, and I don't want her to go to daycare.
Mhm.
Not too fond of the daycares. Just a little scared, and just the horror stories I've heard. I'm like, no, she's gonna go to work with me. It's okay,
So
because right
you're still doing hair with
now,
clients too?
yep. So I just do it from home right now. So I just to get out of the house, so I can kind of have a little bit of separation from working home.
Mhm.
I'm just get a suite. And at least with the suite, I can take her with me. I can, bring her pack and play and her bouncer, and she can
Right.
sit right there while I'm doing hair. And at least, because I want to get back into my recording videos and doing that because that's something that I love. I love doing. So I've actually
Mhm.
reached out to a few of my clients about doing getting their hair done so that I can record videos. That's something I want to do. So I'm excited
Awesome.
about that.
Yes, that sounds great. That sounds great. Do you have any final words of advice to, let's say, others that are in the hair care industry that are really looking to grow their business either to six or, seven figures, just some marketing strategies or anything that
Marketing
they should follow?
strategies.
Or just advice?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say marketing strategies, consistency. Honestly, most people forget about the consistency part, and that is the biggest thing. That was one of the biggest reasons my business grew the way it did is because I was consistent. So just staying consistent, and also whatever it is that you do, whether it's hair, nails, services, just constantly promoting, and even, having reaching back out to customers that have had experiences with you, that have good experiences, and get them to do a review, do a video review. Videos are everything now. So, people like to see that. People want to see, and I always tell people to, I know some people don't like to show their personality, but people sell products. People will buy into you before they buy a product. They buy into
Mhm.
your brand because they like you, because they want to see your journey. So I always tell people in business that you have to, as a business owner, especially entrepreneur, you have to show your personal side. You don't have to tell all of your business, but showing your personal side makes you relatable, makes people like you, and makes people want to buy into you. And people buy into people all day long. Look at celebrities. Because people love celebrities, they will buy anything they promote. And that's the same with entrepreneurs. And that's part of the reason my business has grown, is because I built a relationship with a lot of my customers and clients over the years. So
Mhm.
even when I'm not promoting, they are. So I haven't really been active on social media like I used to, but I still get orders every day because I built a relationship with my customers over the years. That's one of the things, like, just, and also you're going to have ups and downs. It's part of business. It's also part of life. Don't let the downs get you too down that you quit, because I've seen people do that. And, you just got to keep pushing through. I've, been in this business. I've been an entrepreneur now for 11 years. I've had some extremely highs and some extreme lows. Even when I've wanted to quit, I haven't quit. I'll get down, I'll get stressed out, I'll, get sad, but I
Mhm.
always come back and always remember, my why and why I love doing this. And for me, I love doing hair. So it's always going to be something that I really love and I'm passionate about. So I think that's something that, just keep pushing and get some good people around you. Your circle matters. If you have people that are always saying negative things about you or your business, those aren't your people. Get some
Mhm.
people that's gonna motivate you and, encourage you. And if they can help, help. That's all you need, is some good people around you. And I'm grateful for my circle, my friends, and the people that I know that have helped me over the years, that have, seen me come up. Some of my clients have, been there, gave me rides when I didn't have a car.
Mhm.
And, they still come and support me whenever I have something, or, they buy from my website. I can definitely say that has been a big help throughout this journey, because I know at one point I didn't know if I was going to keep going. Like, I just kind of had got to this headspace where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this, because of the losses I experienced over the last, 3 years. It definitely helped a whole lot to have encouraging people in my corner. And last, finances.
Last but not
Learning,
least, not
last
least.
but not least, the biggest one is learning to manage your money. We start making money and we quick to spend it. And I'll say that for myself, because I definitely, was trying, I paid for programs, I paid for mentors and a lot of that stuff, not bashing anyone, but a lot of that stuff I wasted money on. And
Mhm.
now it's like I can't get that money back. I wish I could, but I can't get that money back. I didn't see a return on it. And,
Mhm.
you got to do your due diligence when it comes to things like that. But don't try to not take, courses or whatever, because there are some really great courses out here. There are some really great mentors. So you need a great mentor. But you need to make sure that you're managing your finances. And, when it comes to investing in your business, work on business credit. People talk about, using their own money. And when you think about it, a lot of these larger corporations never use their own money. They use investors' money, they use credit, they use all of those things to grow their businesses. And honestly, when you think about making a business and getting it to seven figures and six figures, or six figures and seven figures, or eight figures, they have to have some type of capital to get to that point.
Right.
You're not going to be able to do that with your own capital.
Right. You gotta spend money to make money,
Yep,
and,
you do.
the bigger the business, the more money you need to spend.
Yep. So tell people, look into business credit, get your business credit together, get your finances together, and, figure out resources that you can use to help grow your business, and without
Mhm.
using your own money, because you don't want to use your own money and you get to a point where something drastic happens in your life and you can't afford to pay for things.
Right.
Because, one of the things for me, when I got sick with my daughter, I had saved, money, but I also had credit cards that I used a lot, because I'm just like, I'm not promoting my business. I'm not doing hair. those things helped me a whole lot during my pregnancy. I definitely will say, those are the things that you need to, have. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to think, is there anything else?
I mean, that was so good. You gave us so
Okay.
many nuggets. Like that
Thank
was
you.
great. I
Thank
love it. I
you.
love it. I love it. So how can people get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me via Facebook or Instagram, Hair by Kia G, and that is HAIRBYKIYAGEE. Also, my website, KG Beauty Co., and that's kgbeautyco.com. And also through email, which is in any of my social media profiles. But my email is support@kgbeautyco.com.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
This was
Thank you so
great. I
much.
cannot wait to release this episode. It is gonna blow their minds.
Thank you.
That's all I
Thank
gotta
you
say.
so much.
Thank you so
Um,
much for, coming on today
you're
and
welcome.
sharing
Thank
your
you.
story and being so transparent as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. You made it to the end. We have more amazing episodes coming up just like this one on the Brand and Convert with Adrian and White podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at brandwithamw and learn more about working with me at brandwithamw.com. People always ask me how I scaled my business to 6 figures per year and now work full-time in my purpose. After a decade of being an entrepreneur and launching 4 successful businesses, I know what it takes to get your service-based business to 6 figures per year quickly. Start booking higher paying clients, automating your processes, and clarifying your messaging in my free training, 5 strategies my clients are using to develop brands, websites, and processes that grow 6-figure businesses. Secure your seat today at training.brandwithamw.com. See you there.